Hey everybody, Northwood Yankee here. Born and raised in the North. I've decided to do my channel based on everyday things that I do, normal life for me. So give me some time. This is not a full-time job for me like it is for some people. I put my stuff up and make my recordings as time allows. Things I'll be doing and things you'll be seeing if it interests you is we're going to be swinging chainsaws, doing radio stuff, uh, jarring and canning, home repairs, welding, tractor work, vehicle repairs, running sawmills, and a wide variety of things. That's just what we do up here. So if these things interest you, check things out, follow me, and hit subscribe, hit that like button, drop comments. Feel free to ask questions. So with that, take it easy. So tonight while eating my chow, I was screwing around on the tube, and I happened to stumble into this video. I was looking at ham radio videos, and I ran into the one titled "Why Ham Radio is Probably Going to Fail." So of course that grabbed my attention right off the bat. And then so like when SHTF, when the crap hits the oscillator, hits the fan, and turd goes. So I had to watch it. I'm not going to mention the guy's YouTube name on here because I don't want you going and linking to him, telling him he's full of crap. I didn't tell him he's full of crap. His presentation, he did a good presentation, but I don't think he has a lot of radio experience. I gather he is a licensed ham operator, but I don't think he has much experience on how radio really functions. So it is what it is. And what he says is true to a degree, but he doesn't really get into all the options of why he thinks it's probably going to fail. So he's gearing his video towards preppers. Okay, fair enough. But he's only talking about portable radios like this. Okay. So what he's talking about is a grid down type situation. No more electricity, right? So he says if it comes to the point, grid down, obviously you need electricity to run repeaters. Yep. Some repeaters might not have backup power, so you've lost those. Yep. Ones that do have backup power, like generators, need fuel, right? Yep. Obviously, no doubt. But what happens when the fuel runs out? What happens when you can't refuel the generators? You lose your repeaters. Yep. All makes sense. Not going to argue that, right? So basically, the scenario he was painting is a massive grid down scenario, and you lose repeaters. So, not being able to use a portable like this, hitting a repeater, whatever, we'll say 5 miles away, be able to extend your range and talk to another station maybe 50 miles away, giving you a range of 60 miles. He's right. You lose repeaters, your range on these is going to become limited, especially the higher you go in your bands. So 220, 440, and up is going to be a limited range on simplex, so direct me to you, you to me, than 2 meters is down in VHF. And that's because of wavelength. So he is right in saying that. Now, on the other hand, um, a lot of ham operators are pretty resilient, and If repeaters are accessible, odds are they'll find some way to get them back on the air. If they're not accessible, odds are ARES groups, the Amateur Radio Emergency Services groups, RACES groups, Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Services groups, um, or even just ordinary Joes like me will have repeaters, emergency repeaters, to put on the air. 20, this is what, 2022? Oh, it's been a good 20 plus years. There's another ham in this area to me. We got it in our head. We were going to build a ammo can repeater, and we did it. We used two Yaesu 1500 mobile radios, and we put them into an ammo can with a controller. Obviously, the duplexer wouldn't fit in there. You know, 4-cavity duplexer. That had to be external. But you could literally pick up the repeater in one hand, pick up the cans in the other, unless you wanted to run two antennas. Nothing wrong with doing that either. Get some separation on them. And go with the thing. Hook it up to a car battery if you need to. There you go. There's a portable repeater. 50 friggin' watts of power. If you wanted to dump your power, just reach inside the can on your transmitter radio, push the button down to 5 watts, 10 watts, whatever your settings were on the radio. It worked. We did it. Around here, there's 2 counties over. They've got a repeater all set up in their ARES emergency communications trailer. Wherever the trailer goes, they've got a repeater. They can take it anywhere they want. Turn the thing on, she's up and running. It's an advertised repeater. I think it's coordinated. Even if it's not, it's on their ARES site for their county. So everybody's got it. So it's not hard to throw repeaters up, and we don't have to screw around with licensing in emergency situations. We don't have to dick around with any of that type of stuff. Repeater licenses go under our call signs. Good enough. Stick it up anywhere, anytime. So another thing he didn't get into is the fact that you can, on most portables, you can unscrew the antenna, right? Like I was talking about in some of my other videos of why ham radio always works, because it's not going to fail in itself. You can unscrew the antenna. You can connect these to external antennas, to a mobile stuck on a car, a bag mount, to a base on a roof. Throw a J-pole up a tree. That'll extend your range. You can run these through power amplifiers. That is legal on ham bands. So that's how you could take the little trashy rubber ducky antennas, the dummy loads, and make the radio do better if you need to on simplex. He didn't talk about that. He also didn't talk about mobile radios. Your average mobile radio on the market on VHF is going to run 40 to 50 watts. Some of them are up to like 75. Your UHF ones are, I think, around 35 watts on high power, maybe 40. And you don't have to screw around with power amplifiers and all these connections and cables on those things. It's just a radio and a microphone, screw in your antenna and hook up your power source. You're up and running. Didn't talk about that. So the mobile radio with a higher power, the better antenna, on simplex, A to B, U to me, is going to carry a lot further distance than the portable. So, if you live out Midwest, you got flat country, radio waves are going to go over that flat land a lot better than up here. We've got mountains, holes, hills. Radio waves don't carry so well. Know your terrain, know how things work. At the end of his video, he talks about, the fix to the problem of the repeaters going down and the portables losing range. and he shows a photo of this like really nice base HF station. Yeah, that's a fix. You could have a general class license to use HF. That's not that hard to get these days. But you have a fix on VHF also, especially on VHF. I mean, if you want to get distance on simplex, UHF's not really the way to go. I mean, like I said, unless you're way out in the flat country, you can get it. But if you're in the sticks, the hills, the holes, get down on 2 meters, maybe even on 6. Go simplex. Run some power, run good antennas with gain. Um, Up here, we have simplex nets weekly, and every once in a while, there's ARES, the Amateur Radio Emergency Services net, is scheduled. Hey, on this date and this time, we're going to do 2 county-wide. So my county and the next neighboring county over, we're going to do a 2 county-wide simplex net. Wherever you are at that point in time, be on this frequency, we're going to see who can talk to who can hear who. So net control wants to know, where you're at. Are you mobile? Are you a base? Just get some general information like that. Reason being, so if we do happen to lose all of our repeaters and we can't get emergency stuff back up online for some reason, and we do have to do things via simplex, you and me, and we do have people out running around in vehicles, we have a pretty rough idea on what areas people can be in mobiles, in vehicles, where they can talk, where they can hear, and then anybody at a base station become relay points. Because trying in this area, trying to go vehicle to vehicle, portables to portables, it is rough. You I mean, you can average about 10 miles on VHF down 2 meters, running 50 watts power and a good 5/8 wave. 10 miles is pretty good. But hey, you get 15 miles out and you're talking to somebody at home and they can hear you just fine. You relay to them, and then they can relay to the emergency communication center who can't hear you, and vice versa. So losing all our repeaters, is that going to shut us down and stop us? Absolutely not. Is it more of a pain in the ass? Yeah. Does it slow down the process? Yeah. Does it stop us? Nope. Keep on chugging. It's been proven time and time and time and time again in countries all around the world for decades. You can't kill ham radio. When all else fails, ham radio is what works. Earthquakes, hurricanes, fires, floods, 9/11 in the US, when public safety stuff crashes into burns, when the phone lines don't work, when your cells don't work, when your internet don't work. What's the only thing that still works? Ham radio. It's been proven. It is not going to fail. Okay? And end of story. There's nothing to debate on that. As long as you know the capabilities of it and how to use it. So anyway, he said that, he said the fix is showing a picture of this HF station. And then starts talking about, kind of being the guru and geek and bounce the signals off the moon to be able to talk thousands of miles away. Well, you can do that at the tech level, man. You don't need general or extra to bounce a signal off the moon. You don't. Well, you don't need general extra to use 10 meters either, or 6 meters. And then we'll get you some range. Now with HF, other than the upper part of 10 meters, there are some FM segments for repeaters. But other than that, on HF, it's all direct. It's all simplex anyway. You could lose every ham repeater in the world, and you wouldn't know it on HF. They don't exist. So So on HF, you're not going to have little antennas, little radios like this, because of the wavelength, you need some metal in the air. So yeah, you're going to need an HF radio, which today's technology is incredible. They make them, pretty friggin' small these days. They're not big vacuum tube rigs anymore. So you can use a small HF radio, a battery, and something for the antenna. I've got that little MP1 all broken down. I could stick the thing in my pants pocket. It's this freaking long. When I extend it out, it's longer. It's a telescoping antenna. And I just tune it up to where I am going to be operating. Got some wires that I throw underneath it for a ground plane. That's one way to get portable communications. I got a video, I think that's Why Ham Radio Always Works, part 3. Shows that antenna in operation. You can use the ham sticks, rig those things up like in a horizontal, in a dipole. You can do those. You can get screwdriver antennas. You can put HF in a vehicle. Driving down the road, talking on HF. Sure, you can do that, and you don't need to be a big techie whiz guru nerd to do that type of stuff at all. So if you get a technician class license and then you go buy a radio, I don't care if it's a portable, I don't care if it's the best mobile rig out there, and you just throw it in the closet and, oh, I'll figure out how to use it when I need it. That's not the time to be figuring out how to use your equipment and how stuff works. The time to figure that out is when you get your license. Figure out how your repeaters work. Figure out what you can do on simplex. Figure out, oh, when a repeater's not working, how can I get around that? Learn your people in your area, who your hams are. That's the time to do it. So then, if you do have a grid down or natural disaster, you're not trying to figure out, oh, well, crap, now this thing won't work. I can't get my repeaters to work. And, well, what frequencies do they use around here to talk on? Now I'm trying to figure it out, find it out. And they're not in my radio. Now I'm trying to figure out, well, crap, it's been 5 years since I turned my radio on. And now I can't remember how I program it. And, don't set yourself up like that. So if you're using ham radio for prepping or emergency use, you should know how to use it, right? Not set it and forget it. So like I said, ham radio in itself is not going to fail. You can have equipment failures, like the repeaters can crash and burn, but as long as you are properly equipped and you know how to use your equipment correctly, ham radio is going to work. It always does. It hasn't failed yet. So if you can't get things to work and you can't communicate around your city, your town, your county, because the repeater isn't working anymore, or the repeaters aren't working anymore, because all you've got is this, well, whose fault is that? That's your fault. That's your problem. You should have planned better. So I guess with that, take it easy. Learn how to use your equipment. Keep your batteries charged up. Maybe check in with your local Aries groups. Find out what they have set up for simplex frequencies. Find out what the plans are when things go south. We've done it here. We had a bad ice storm in 1998. We had no communications. We had one cell tower here, analog cell phones. Those didn't work. That was in the days of the internet was a baby here. Phone lines were down. Well, guess how we were talking from this area to the capital halfway down the state? Wasn't with these little radios. These little radios were getting us around town, no problem, sure. But HF was going from here down to the capital and back up to here again. That's how the entire state was linked together, was on HF. And then the local communities were linked together on VHF. And guess what? It all worked because people know how to use their equipment when nothing else was working.